A police officer goes missing. No clues, no witnesses, just fear. Then out of nowhere, a wounded stray German shepherd shows up, muddy, limping, and relentless. No one knew what he wanted until he led cops deep into the forest. What they found next shattered everyone and left the force in tears. By morning, the missing officer case had turned into a full-scale emergency. Helicopters hovered over the wooded stretch. K-9 units were deployed, and officers combed every ditch, path, and roadside trail. But hours turned to days, and Jake Lawson had vanished without a trace. His fellow officers, hardened by years of street duty, began to feel the helpless weight of uncertainty. The town buzzed with speculation. Was it an ambush? Did he fall into a ravine? Or worse, was someone targeting cops? Sheriff Wallace ordered an extended search perimeter, but even with volunteers, dogs, drones, and dive teams, Jake remained a ghost. The atmosphere at the station changed. Coffee went cold, laughter died, and every silent moment echoed Jake's absence. Then something unexpected happened. On the fourth evening, as the last search party was returning, a dispatch call came through. Unknown animals seen dragging something near Route 14, possibly injured. Officers rushed to the site expecting another false alarm, but what they found changed everything and marked the beginning of a miracle no one saw coming. The rain came down hard that night, soaking the gravel roads and cloaking the world in misty silence. Headlights cut through the downpour as the patrol unit reached Route 14. They slowed as they noticed movement ahead, low to the ground, limping, soaked. One officer stepped out and squinted through the rain. That's a dog," he muttered. It was a German shepherd, lean, filthy, and clearly exhausted. A frayed rope hung from its mouth, and as they approached, the dog backed away, then turned and began limping toward the woods. "It wants us to follow," someone said. Without hesitation, they did. For nearly half a mile, through puddles and mud, the dog led them into a thicket. Suddenly it stopped, whining and pawing at a pile of leaves and debris near a collapsed shed. And then, they saw him. Officer Jake Lawson, unconscious, bruised but alive, blindfolded and tied. The dog gently nudged his face and whimpered. Everyone froze. One officer whispered, "He saved him. That stray dog just saved Jake's life." The officers surged forward, dropping to their knees beside Officer Lawson. His pulse was weak but steady. Mud clung to his uniform, and his lips were cracked from dehydration. The German shepherd didn't budge. He sat protectively beside Jake, ears twitching, eyes locked on the humans as if to say, "Hurry!" One officer called for emergency medical backup, while the others carefully untied Jake's wrists. "Stay with us, buddy," they urged, patting his shoulder, trying to rouse him. Jake stirred faintly, whispering one word, "Dog." They looked at the shepherd again, and something passed between them all. This wasn't just some random stray. He had stayed with Jake, kept him warm, protected, and ultimately led them to him. Moments later, the paramedics arrived. Jake was loaded into the ambulance, but not before the dog jumped inside too. No one stopped him. Not a single soul. The team stood in stunned silence, wet from the rain, shaken, but overwhelmingly grateful. "Whatever that dog is," the captain said, "he's part of this family now." Jake Lawson opened his eyes 3 days later in the hospital, blinking against the harsh light above him. Tubes ran from his arms, and his body ached with every breath. But beside him, curled at the foot of the bed, was that same dirty, loyal German shepherd. Head resting on Jake's boot. A nurse leaned in with a soft smile. "He hasn't left since you got here. Won't eat unless you're awake." Jake's voice was hoarse. "The dog? He found them?" The nurse nodded. "He led the whole team straight to you." Tears welled in Jake's eyes. His last memories were of being dragged into the woods, tied up by 2 masked men, and left in a shack without food or water. He remembered the cold, the hunger, and then the warmth. A dog's nose nudging his cheek, soft paws on his chest, pieces of scavenged food placed near his mouth. That dog hadn't just helped. He had fought to save him. Jake reached out weakly, his hand landing on the shepherd's back. "You're my hero," he whispered. The dog wagged his tail, just once. As Jake slowly regained his strength, detectives interviewed him about everything he remembered. The truth stunned the department. Jake had stumbled upon an illegal operation while checking out a suspicious vehicle near the edge of the woods. Before he could call it in, two men jumped him from behind, beat him, and dragged him deep into the forest. They blindfolded him, tied him to a beam inside an old hunting shack, and left him with no food or water. Days blurred into nights, and Jake was sure no one would find him. But then, the dog came. The stray slipped into the shack through a broken panel. At first, Jake thought he was hallucinating, but the shepherd returned again and again, bringing scraps of food, licking Jake's wounds, even lying across his legs during the freezing nights to keep him warm. On the final night, the dog vanished and returned hours later, leading the police directly to him. "He didn't just help me survive," Jake said to his captain. "He chose to save me." And that choice changed everything. The department decided to officially adopt him. They held a small ceremony out front, with Jake standing proudly, still in a wheelchair, but smiling through tears. A custom vest was placed over the dog's back with a patch that read, "Honorary K9, Valor." As Jake knelt beside him, he whispered, "You gave me back my life. I owe you everything." Even the hardest officers had to wipe their eyes. Captain Reynolds cleared his throat before handing Jake a plaque. "This department owes you a debt," he said, glancing down at Valor. "But today, we also honor a silent hero, a stray who reminded us all what loyalty really means." And when the crowd clapped, Valor didn't flinch. He just looked at Jake, tail wagging, ears forward, as if saying, "Mission accomplished." If you were moved by this incredible story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an amazing tale like this. Stay with us for more heartwarming and unbelievable stories.